Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, producer of the No Quitting the Home Team podcast. I wanted to give a quick disclaimer in that while we hope anyone who listens would gain wisdom and insight from Dave and Renee's conversations, this is still a podcast intended for married couples, and to that end there will occasionally be dialogue around sexual intimacy and other related topics. So, for those of you who may be single and particularly sensitive to this subject matter, or those who may be listening at home or in the car with their kids around, we wanted to give you a heads up in advance so that you might continue listening at your own discretion.
Hello, everyone. We're back after a lengthy hiatus for various reasons, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
welcome to our podcast, No Quitting the Home Team, Season 2, Episode 17. I'm Renee.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jesse.
We're so glad you joined us.
Today on the podcast, we are having a year-in review.
Or season end review.
I see, yeah.
Because we're kind of reviewing this
Yeah.
second season, not the
Right.
whole year.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Not 2022.
Half of a year review.
Recap of this season.
Yes. I'm excited for it. Kind of have some of our highlights, some takeaways, maybe some things we didn't like, who knows. And I'm looking forward to getting into it. But first, Renee,
Yes.
how are you?
Well, it has been a minute. When did we record the last podcast? Has it been a month?
It's been right at a month.
Yeah.
And before that, it was about 3 weeks.
Yeah. We've kind of sputtered here in frequency at the end. I blame having a senior and the holidays and a wicked flu.
Yes.
All reasonable
Yeah.
reasons.
How am I? We have 1 day left and then our kids are on Christmas break. And I'm really excited about just some time with them. Like I said, we all got the flu over Thanksgiving break, and we kind of knew, we kind of chose it because we decided to go have Thanksgiving with my family.
Yeah, we didn't
in one
sign a
house.
document.
No, we knew what we were signing up for.
Yes.
One house, all of my siblings. I'm one of 6. My parents, all of the children, coming from 5 different states, and with everything circulating in the community, we were like, we are going to get something. And what was
we
it?
did.
It was like day 2. My nephew was walking through one of the rooms and someone said, he doesn't look very well. And they're like, no, he has a fever. And we all looked at each other.
Like, here we go.
And then
All right.
people just
Hey, come
started,
cough in my face.
people started dropping like flies. So it took us a bit to kind of, for that to work through our whole family.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Yep. So I'm excited for the break. I'm excited for Christmas. Yeah.
Good. Jesse, what about you? How are you doing?
Ooh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
No, it's been fine. When last we left off, this was like subtly hinted at in an episode and not really particularly brought up. My wife lost her job back in the end of October, which was a real bummer. And right around that same time, we had to take our oldest kiddo, Jacob, to
is this
the
before or
hospital.
after she dislocated her kneecap?
Yeah, this was right after. It's like 2 weeks after she dislocated her kneecap. She lost her job. And then our oldest, we had actually our youngest we took to the ER for RSV. And then our oldest we took to the ER because he looked like he had appendicitis. So it was all.
It was a banner
It was
October.
wild.
It
Yeah.
was a banner
October
October.
was woo. But kneecap better. Wife, new job.
Yay.
Yeah.
Small human, rowdier and more full of life than ever. RSV couldn't keep him down. And the big one, while it wasn't appendicitis, it was something that demanded surgical intervention. Handled that last week. He's
Internally repaired.
internally repaired, laparoscopic outpatient procedure. He was ready to go sooner than he was medically allowed to go,
Yep.
which is unsurprising if you've ever met my eldest. Ball is life to that dude. But
Basketball or all ball?
yes,
Yes, all of them.
football and soccer right now because it's football season and the World Cup is happening. But
Yep.
he plays anything and everything.
Has he shed any tears over any of the World Cup matches?
Not quite,
Okay.
but I do know a handful of FDC staff kids who wept when the U.S. got eliminated.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about soccer. I still, to this day, the offsides thing, I just can't figure it out.
No,
The-
every game
Would you like help?
we watched together, Renee,
Well,
was
and
like
I heckle people because
Yes, you just
it's
trolling, making fun of soccer
because it's
while watching.
so boring to watch if you don't know the intricacies of it. So, but I get
agree to
attached.
disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was a bit annoying to my brother and sister-in-laws over Thanksgiving to where I almost got asked to leave the room
no.
when we were watching. But I do get attached, relationally and interpersonally to teams.
Narratives?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did get attached to Morocco and Croatia. And so
Naturally.
I was very sad when.
Beat the colonizers.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I
both
don't
of
think
them.
you ever got over that there's a good miss and a bad miss.
Yeah, I was like, no, they missed, but it was a good miss. I'm like, if a sport has these categories for a miss being, there's a range of acceptableness. It just needs to, evolve. Or
Sounds
just,
like you just don't appreciate the most globally beloved and pervasive game ever made.
guilty.
No, we've also been watching a ton of World Cup as well. It's my favorite time of year. I was really hoping for an Argentina-Morocco final, but now I can, without any hesitation, just cheer for Argentina and hope Messi gets one. And
Yeah. Okay, one last thing about soccer, and then we
yeah.
have to move on. The ridiculous, and I texted, who did I text? The ridiculous fake injuries.
some are fake.
I just can't handle
Yeah.
that is baked into the game. And I was texting with my England girlfriends, and some of them listen. And one of them her two sons are professional soccer players.
Yep.
And she gave me the best explanation, the most helpful explanation. She said, they're not fake, they're exaggerated. Because
You have
the
to
field
advocate
is-
for yourself.
The field is so big.
Correct.
Comparing like the size of a basketball court and the number of referees on a basketball court to the size of a soccer field and the number of referees. And I thought that was actually Jill Harden. Thank you. That was the most helpful
Very insightful.
soccer insight that I received during this World Cup.
You have to advocate for yourself. Now, there
Yep.
are countries, there are players and countries who are notorious for maybe laying it on thicker than is beneficial, which can often have the opposite result in that you don't get any calls because they know you are over
Boy,
exaggerating.
cried wolf.
They know you're
Yeah.
faking.
Italy. But this is a well-known thing that if you don't advocate for yourself, you're not going to get the call because it is, as your friend said, it's really hard to see from a distance exactly what happened.
Interesting.
You got to get their attention, and then everyone pleads their case.
Yeah.
Most of the time they get it right. Video electronic checks have helped a lot with this. So
Honey,
well,
how are you? You didn't give.
Oh, well, I'm doing good.
yeah.
I'm excited to have a Christmas break next week. I'm preaching on Sunday. We're kind of doing our typical thing. We have a billion things to do right before we get to have time off. So I know break's coming, but when we look at the next 4 days, it's going to be pretty intense until
Yeah.
then. But I'm feeling good. I had good news on. I don't know why we keep talking about various injuries.
Because we're old.
Yeah.
It's really sad. I
Hey,
have
I'm fine over here.
a PT
I'm not.
PT friend
I'm really not.
check to make sure. I thought maybe I'd torn a ligament in my knee playing basketball a few weeks ago, and
You've been bummed about it.
I've been really sad.
Well, you play
about
3
it
times a week for those who are new to the podcast or don't remember.
Yes.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
for years.
5:30 to 6:30.
Yeah,
Yep.
for years. And anyway, he was able to do a thorough check this morning, and he said my ligaments are fine.
Yep.
So I feel my knee feels better, and I think maybe after
The new year.
the new year I can get back into it. So I'm excited about that. I have a meeting tomorrow with the athletic director of Byers middle and high school.
This is my favorite thing of all the things.
They sent out a urgent plea Help! We need someone to coach the middle school B team. Please help us.
And within 30 minutes of that email going out, two people
You've
who I
got
love and
mail.
respect, one being my spouse, forwarded that email to me. And then Renee and Fred, who I work with, and they were like, so this is obviously for you. And so anyway, I'm meeting with the athletic director tomorrow, and I may be the new middle school boys B team head basketball coach.
Woo, woo.
Coach, doctor, pastor,
Reverend.
Dave Moreland.
Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? But it's horrifying, and also I actually have a lot of
You were made for this.
yeah, I actually have a
Yeah.
lot of
Well,
joy
and
thinking about
Beckett's
it.
comment was, Dad, you have no idea how bad some of these kids are. Not in terms of basketball ability, but in terms of behavior.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
I
you
get to hold a tryout, so hopefully,
Because you have no idea how bad some of these kids are.
hopefully we can select a team. Anyway, but we asked how I'm doing. I'm doing good. I'm excited for the break coming up, and maybe have a fun little volunteer gig coming up here in the spring. So
Can't
Well,
wait for
we'll
you
expect nothing less than an undefeated season.
yeah, I can't wait for you to smoke all of those kids at the 3-point line.
oh well, definitely, yeah. That should be no problem. Hopefully, but we'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully we have some players.
Yeah, see, that's good answer, Coach. Good answer.
All right, we're going to do something a little fun, a little festive today as we're sort of wrapping up season 2. And this is inspired by, I don't know if you guys have seen, I don't do TikTok, but even on Instagram, they'll have a couple and a question will be asked and they can't talk, but they point to which one embodies that, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
who's the smartest? And both of them at the same time point to which partner is the most whatever.
I don't see any cameras in here, though.
I know.
Renee.
So I thought, could we do an adaptation? We've spent 6 months reading marriage books and working on our marriage and talking about marriage. Surely we've gotten to know each other better.
Has it worked?
Has it worked? So we thought we could have Jesse read the question, and then we both say either Dave or nay at the exact same time. So you'll know if you can't really tell what was said, we disagree on it. And there may be some elaboration after each
And we
question.
haven't talked about this,
We haven't talked about
of course.
it. But if we both say the same name, we are in consensus on who embodies that trait the most.
Now, who compiled this list?
We both did.
Okay,
We
I
both
was going to
did.
say, because if one person had time to think of answers
That might
we
pertain to
haven't-
in
them.
preparation,
This-
Yeah.
You give us too much credit for
Preparation.
preparation.
for gamesmanship. Okay, okay.
So we Googled probably 15 minutes before we walked into this room some, what are they called? Questions? Who is questions?
Who is questions?
Who
yeah.
is questions?
Who is better? Who is more?
So he'll read it, and then when I lift my finger, we both say the answer. So you just respond with Dave or nay. Because we need to say it.
He'll just give us the question.
I'm going to
we
read
just
the
say-
question and
say it
you
right away?
answer it
Okay.
immediately.
Yeah, because if I'm looking at your finger,
Okay,
then
okay.
I'm not
You
going to
can't
know.
think. Okay,
Yeah, no,
okay.
you guys look at me. You look at me.
okay.
Don't look
I'll
at
look
each
at
other.
Jesse.
You're looking at me.
Okay.
You're looking at me. All right.
Okay, and I predict that we may be in unison on every single question.
Really?
I do.
Do I get to participate? Just kidding. Though I am reading these questions and I have opinions. So we'll see.
We'll
see. We'll have
We'll
a
have,
see.
we'll have a
We'll
comment
see.
section at the end
No, it's
for
going to
Jesse.
be great. Yeah. No, it's going to be great. Well, in that case,
With no further ado,
without further ado, who's messier?
Me.
Dave.
Yeah.
So you need to say Dave
need
or
to say
nay.
Dave?
You need to say
Yeah,
Dave or
okay.
nay.
Yeah.
Yeah, say Dave or nay.
Okay.
Who is the biggest procrastinator?
Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse. Okay, keep going.
I'm just saying we're collectively 3 for 3.
Maybe we both know Dave really well.
Yeah. Who's the funniest?
Nay.
Who made the first move?
Dave. And how? Still do.
Still do.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I think we've talked about that story before, but if we haven't, we should
Yeah,
go over
we
that one.
should.
All
Yeah.
right. Who's the most stubborn?
Renee.
Nay.
Yeah. Who's most likely to cry during a fight?
Dave.
Dave.
I pointed at Dave.
I'll cry later, but I won't cry
yeah,
during the
exactly.
fight.
No, you can't show weakness during the fight, but afterward, once it's resolved, yeah, for sure, for sure. Who has better taste in music?
Dave.
He didn't answer the question.
You have to-
Well, I haven't
Impulse.
thought about it.
Go, go, go.
Who do you do?
Yeah, probably me.
Yeah.
Dave.
Which I think is unusual because I think I have better taste in most things.
Yes. You're classier.
Yeah.
But I do have,
I get stuck in ruts with music.
yeah.
I'm resistant to change. I'm resistant. So you say Dave too?
Yep.
Okay.
Who has the best style?
Me. Renee.
Who's the most empathetic?
Dave.
Renee.
Oh. All right. I'm gonna make it.
I think deep down
no.
I'm the most empathetic.
Yeah. Who cares most about other people and their where in their current sort of state of being?
What would you
Who
say?
feels it the most?
Who feels it the most?
Renee.
Me.
Well,
yeah.
But if we're talking empathy, then it's who has the best ability to put themselves in the shoes of another person,
Right.
even if you don't necessarily have experience
And
to draw
but
from.
who feels it the most?
Yeah.
Me.
Renee, for
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. So we are in unison on that one.
All right.
But I think I'm more naturally able to be in someone's shoes right away.
Yep. But I feel it the deepest.
But once you go there, you go
yep.
there.
Yep.
Those are important distinctions.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Who has more pet names?
Dave.
Pet nay. I would say nay. Between the two of us?
Like
Yeah,
who
is this-
owns
is
more
this
names or who
everyone?
uses more pet names? Because you use
Who has more? Like, I thought,
Yeah.
I give you, so you have more, I call you nay. nay.
you have more pet
Moderator, I'm gonna go ahead and clarify this, even though I'm not the one that wrote the question.
names. Please do.
Which of you has received more pet names?
That's how,
That's me.
yeah,
That's
nay.
nay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're using one of them right now.
right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Without even thinking about it.
Well, is an abbreviation of a person's name a pet name?
Oh, I feel like if it's nay, I feel like nay feels like a pet name to me.
I don't think I call you. Do I call you like? I don't call you like sugar or honey. Do I? Do I have? I don't have a pet name for. I need a pet name for you.
I know.
I'm gonna
Why
have
don't
to-
you have a pet name?
I don't know.
A affectionate term.
Because I have them for the kids. Oh, honey, I need to work on that.
Well, next season.
Next season,
okay,
pet name
pet names.
reveal.
Ooh.
Pet name reveal.
All right. Well,
Go what? No, comment. Dave was wanting to say something.
Dave?
Well, I was
Dave.
at some point. This is before contacts were preloaded with your phones. You know, that you put in David Moreland.
David. Dave. There was a point in time.
Husband David Moreland.
There was a point in time, Dave, where I asked you straight up: is your name on your birth certificate Dave or David?
Did he say Dave?
He
No, I
said
said
David.
David, yeah.
Oh, right.
But I've never heard anyone call you David Moreland.
Yeah, only
Ever.
Your parents.
my parents, my siblings.
Your siblings.
Yeah.
I think people who knew you in high school sometimes do
Yeah,
too.
they call me David.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Working on a pet name. We're still
go.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we clarify.
We've had a couple. For sure. Who always runs late?
Dave.
Yeah, it's okay, buddy. Who said I love you first?
Dave.
Also a fun story. Who spends more money?
Dave.
Who's the most sensitive?
Renee.
Renee, yeah.
Yeah, I am. You wouldn't think it.
Yeah, so you're
You would-
tough.
I know. I have a tough exterior, but
Yeah.
I'm more sensitive.
I'm the
Gooey,
opposite.
gooey center.
And you would think Dave's more sensitive, and he's not.
He's just, I think, more. He just wears it on his sleeve a little more, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but then deep down inside, I'm just dead.
Just calloused and working in academia will do that to you. That was a joke. Who's the most stable?
Dave.
Yeah, probably me.
Yeah. Not that I'm
Not
terribly unstable.
but just
but-
day in, day out.
Yes.
If you just do a litmus test of every day.
Yes. You're one of the most emotionally stable people I have ever met in my life. And other people have said that to me.
It is very impressive.
It is. I mean, I don't think you aspired to it and then like got there. I just,
Right.
for whatever reason, that's how God's wired you and your experience or whatever. But you are just the most even person. And I've known you for a long time.
And I know this isn't the point of the exercise, where the initial impulse to answer Dave for most empathetic, I think this is a lot of where that comes from, is the stability and the groundedness of Dave can often be experienced as, gosh, he's so like connected and empathic. And it's like, that is very true. But part of it is that Dave is super, super stable.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who apologizes first after a fight?
Dave. Man, I can hold it. I can hold it for a
No.
long
Oh, yeah,
time.
that's leverage.
Even if I have a
That's
beef,
leverage.
I'll apologize.
Just
I was like, I'm sorry that this hurt me.
hey, I've got the resolution time has shrunk.
Hey, I'm
It has shrunk
not
over the
complaining.
years.
No, this
Speaker
is-
listener technique done wonders.
Yes.
It has.
Yes, it has for sure.
Who's the better driver?
Dave.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You know, I'm not.
I blame
I'm just
Hobart, Oklahoma for that.
and I can just
you.
get distracted. I can get distracted in the cell phone sense.
Yeah.
But I'll talk and I just kind of
I'm getting highly anxious just hearing you describe this.
we'll be talking about a story or something, and sometimes I can just kind of zone out.
Yeah.
But I did learn to drive in a very small town.
And how many wrecks were in your driveway going up between you and your sibling? In the driveway. Dozens.
If the answer is
Dozens.
more than zero,
No,
what is
dozens.
happening?
Dozens.
Dozens.
Yeah.
No, because there's a when you drive in a place where there are very few cars, there's a laissez-faire. Like my dad still doesn't wear his seatbelt, and he's a very intelligent, law-abiding citizen.
County lawyer.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
Yeah, he's like
not
the-
only law abiding, law enforcing.
Yeah, he's the county attorney. But there's just a laissez-fairness to driving when you're in those environments, and I think often I'm conscientious, but I relapse into that sometimes.
Right. You're usually a good.
I'm usually a good driver.
Excellent,
I
yeah.
just can have lapses of judgment.
All right. Who wants to go driving with Renee?
Tisk tisk. Who's the better cook?
Renee.
Me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I tried last night. I had a event that I had to go to, kind of a holiday event, and so I was making homemade ramen,
Yeah.
and most of it was done, and I had to think through every particular.
No, you
Culinary-
you walked through the process with me like I was a 7-year-old. For good reason.
Well,
I don't blame you for this.
And still, there were things that. It just seems like when it comes down to like, do I choose A or B? You just choose the wrong. Your instincts are wrong with cooking.
The intuition.
The intuition is
kitchen
wrong.
Intuition is.
Yes.
Well,
I think Dave's feeling a
what's
little
so
attacked
funny
right now.
about it is I think that's true. And I feel like for me to have any joy in the kitchen, I just have to have freedom. Just to make it's
Freedom
more
to be
like
bad?
exploration.
But this was unique. This was unique because it was a meal I had prepared.
done
I planned.
all the work
So
for
you were just doing the last couple steps.
Yes.
Whereas it wasn't just like, hey, you're on for dinner tonight.
Right.
Do what
But
you
you do
want.
give me the freedom
I
to do
do,
that.
and I don't
Like
micro.
tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Yeah, totally.
I'm making
talk-
some kind of meat, some sort of meat.
Some sort of
So
meat.
this is something we're into. So King Soopers often will have buy one get one free meat, and it kind of rotates between like a London broil, but buy one get one free. It's like $20 free.
And when you're feeding 5 people,
I know. So they'll have like buy one get one free pork roast, but they had buy one get one free their steaks, but it's a kind of steak that we hadn't made before. So I got enough. I got 2.
Yep.
And there's 8 steaks between the 2 packages. And I told Dave, like, do something with
And I'm
these.
so excited. I have zero idea as to what I'm going to do at this point.
Yeah.
But it's steak.
But
How are
it's
you going to
gonna be
mess it
great.
up? You
I
can't mess it
wait.
up.
I can't wait.
And I will have no opinions
Yeah,
on
it's true.
how it should be done.
But when there's like for real cooking, and to actually go for a particular flavor that's intended,
Yeah.
you're not going to want me to be your guy.
No.
All right. I'm going to start. I'm going to stop poking the bear quite so much. I'm just trying to get a rise out of Dave at this point. Who's the bigger baby when they're sick?
Oh,
Dave. Oh my gosh. That's another episode.
We've talked about this occasionally, but yeah.
I am so strong until I have one germ in my body.
And then he's on death's door.
Hey, who were you mocking earlier when we were like in our pre-production and we were talking through we were talking about our local National Basketball Association team and and I seem to remember you making a baby voice
Yeah.
talking about a player.
Murray?
No, it wasn't Murray. It's the other overpaid guard.
Oh, I love
wasn't
all
fair.
those guys.
That wasn't fair.
Cheap
But
shot.
yeah,
Cheap
yeah,
shot.
Yeah. No, I'm a baby when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. And it makes me angry.
It makes Renee, she gets pretty angry.
Pretty angry.
Pretty angry.
Dave
Pretty angry.
sniffles and she just like cuts him a stare across the room. Don't even think about
It's
it.
not that off.
Don't even think
It's
about
not
it more.
that off. It's not that wrong.
Who's most likely to forget an anniversary?
Probably Dave.
Really? I was going to say Renee.
Ooh.
I
Is it because both of you are so good at remembering?
I think anniversary is a tricky
anniversaries?
one because neither of us forget our anniversary.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
Neither of us. So I would say I was thinking more of like forgetting an event
forget. Yeah,
because the actual anniversary, neither of us have ever
or like a birthday or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
We just,
But it's more like forgetting something or forgetting.
I am more likely to forget like to have like
Events.
a lot of things on the calendar and like, oh, we have this event tomorrow that we're leading or something, and we should probably go to that.
So I think I would broaden it to not because it doesn't. I would say it's not applicable for anniversary because
okay.
we don't.
Yeah.
Neither of us forget that.
But I agree though. I'm more likely just to be just disheveled, like
yeah. From
my
a
thinking.
from a scheduling standpoint,
Yes.
executive planning, dishevelment.
There's a reason Renee manages Dave's email inbox.
Yes, yes,
That's all we're saying.
yes.
Who's more romantic?
Probably Dave.
More sentimental, probably.
Yep, yep.
Okay, final one. Who is more optimistic about the future?
Dave.
Dave. Although
Following,
I'm teaching through Revelation right now with our men's Bible study. That will sober you up.
yeah, sure will.
Some of the trajectories aren't too positive.
Yeah, Dave was like, can't get through chapter 11 fast enough.
Yeah.
let's
Jesse's in there.
let's turn this corner.
Come on.
Let's turn this corner.
Where's the happy fun time, yo?
Let's go to Philippians. Come
There
on,
you
can
go,
we go to
encouragement.
Philippians? Well, I
Hey,
think
well done, you
Right?
two.
Yeah.
It took there took a little bit of like counseling through it, but I think
Thank
there
you,
was
Jesse.
unanimous.
Dr. Cowan let us through.
Yeah, God help us all. No, I think your prediction was true, and that
yeah.
I think it took a little digging, but I think you guys shared answers on all of that.
Oh, well,
hey,
that was fun.
this is your cue. We are. What's the phrase you like to use in every podcast? Proving that we are. What's your honey? You found a way to. Jesse knows it.
Oh, naked and unashamed?
There he is. There he is.
So I'm also slow.
That's okay.
That's all right. All right.
I'm loving the tone of this episode. We're like, it's senior year.
Totally.
You've taken your finals.
Yeah.
You know
Totally.
everything's and you're just
Yeah,
just
coasting.
free
coasting.
and loose. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun.
All right.
Great job, team.
All
Next segment.
Now we're pivoting to something more serious. Not really. we're just going to talk about. Oh, actually, you were going to cue this up.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
So
I'm stealing your thunder.
it's okay. We're going to talk about reflections, highlights from the past season.
Season 2
We've read
in review.
12 books. We've read an insane amount on marriage the past 6 months. Less than that. Really over 5 months.
5 months, yeah.
And that's a lot of material we've gone through. We've had a lot of discussions, and I was thinking it'd be fun and important for our listeners and for us to think like, what are the big takeaways? So 12 books. Okay, what are my 3 like biggest aha moments that I've had this term, and what are your biggest 3? And see what they are.
Yeah.
And maybe that would be helpful for our listeners too, to kind of synthesize a lot of the content and let the cream rise to the top here.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's ping pong it. Why don't you start, and we'll kind of go back and forth.
So the first one that came to mind, this was the first one that immediately came to mind when I started thinking about this, is the book that we read, Hold Me Tight. I've forgotten the author already. But she talked about our conversations, A-R-E. A is available, R is responsive, E is emotionally present. And the way that she described it is, to me, it put together so many themes in marriage counseling, so many issues and techniques that you want to employ if you want to get closer as a couple, all in a single sort of framework, this our conversation framework. So
remind us, what's the ARE?
So what she was wanting to do was to create a context in which people can experience bonding in a sense of emotional closeness to each other. So, which is the thing that we all want. Look lovingly in each other's eyes and kind of have that moment that then sort of becomes sort of this emotional cementing kind of experience that then you always sort of draw on. And so how do you create those moments, those hold me tight moments? So the first thing she said was, you have to be you have to be available. And we've talked about this. One of the first things we do in marriage counseling is we do an audit on people's schedules. Are you actually available? Are you?
Yep. Or you
literally
more people
present?
I think are ships passing in the night than you would think you are.
Right. And we've gone through seasons.
Totally.
But yet you can't expect to have any kind of intimacy, closeness, if you're not actually literally available. It's brilliant. So you have to be available. R is responsive. So not just available, but you have to be not made out of stone like in the moment, but you have to be responsive, which means you're listening. You're not reacting, but you're listening. You're responding to your partner in the moment. Doesn't mean you're perfect, but you're malleable. And then E is emotionally present. So you're connected. Think of like your deepest emotions, like your fears, your longings, your desires. You're emotionally present, meaning you've come to terms with, or you're owning whatever your fears are in the relationship, whatever your hopes are and your desires are, and you can talk about those. I just feel like almost every book we've read, not just these 12, but others previous, are almost all of them are hitting on some aspect of either being available. This is all of Gottman's work, is how do you the bids for affection, being aware of these bids for affection and going back and forth. It's available. Being responsive. So all of this sort of communication stuff that we go through with Scott Stanley, speaker listener technique, it's responsive, active listening, and then emotionally present. All the stuff with coming to terms with your own sort of past and history, deepest longings, all that stuff. That's the E. So
Yep.
our conversations, brilliant.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's good.
That's one. That's one.
Okay.
A little trick if you just say 1 point, but if you have 3 subpoints, then you get 3 in one.
Yeah. I feel like you jammed a lot into that point.
I did.
Mine's going to be a bit briefer. My first one, my
Yes,
first
let's hear it.
takeaway. So, as someone who actually hadn't read a lot of marriage books, it is beneficial to read marriage books. And I think you don't have to read 12, but we've definitely,
Clarify it.
yeah, we've definitely experienced growth. We've been married a long time. So I think often this far in, you're just in the ruts you're in, right? So I think we've experienced some significant growth through this process. So I do think it can benefit you to read a marriage book together.
Yeah.
And if one of the books we talked about kind of resonated, I think I didn't think going in it would change anything. I went in skeptical, which is maybe the reason I hadn't read a lot of marriage books. But I think it is beneficial to, if you find yourselves in a stuck spot or whatever, to do that together.
Was there any, of all the books you read, was there any one of those books they'd be like, okay, I know it's sort of a scattershoot, like it's hard to know the context that everyone who's listening's in, but if you could recommend just one of the 12, it's like, okay, Renee, which one are we going to read together? Tell me. What would you say?
Gosh. I wish I had a list of them in front of me.
I know.
What's the one?
Hold, please.
Where's my magic Jesse wand?
Producer working.
I do think it's tailored to the couple. So I think for me and for us, I found the very practical one at the end very helpful. Do you remember the name of that one?
Yeah, the Fair Play.
Eve Rodsky.
Yeah.
I felt like that resonated.
Right.
Hold Me Tight was by Sue Johnson.
Sue
Sue
Johnson's
Johnson,
right. Eve Rodsky. Yeah, Fair Play, I think, was just where we were.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's necessarily transferable to every couple. There's probably a better general marriage book.
But it hit a pain point.
Right.
That-
And I think it moved the needle a little bit.
It
in
absolutely
us.
did.
So anyway, that's my
Okay,
first
great.
takeaway.
Awesome.
Number 2, without lots of subpoints for you.
Okay, going all the way back to our first. This was The Great Sex Rescue, our first book or second
No,
book?
it was like
What was our first book?
Tim Keller's
Tim
book.
Keller?
Meaning of
Meaning
Marriage.
Marriage, yep.
Okay.
Yep. Great Sex
So,
Rescue was 2.
One of the insights they had in that, so fascinating, that a wife's experience of intimacy, positive, and usually like negatively, may have nothing to do with her actual expectations put on her by her spouse. In other words, her experience of sex may, and the diminished experience of it, may have more to do with her upbringing
Messages she
and
received.
the messages she received in sort of legalistic kind of Christian environments than the actual expectations of her husband in years of marriage. That was so mind-blowing for me. And I suppose it shouldn't be. Like, I know how our childhood impacts us and the way we think. I get that. I get that at a certain level. But the way that they framed out how often husbands are genuinely unaware how their wives are in distress regarding sexual intimacy, and
it may have actually nothing to do with that.
and it has nothing to do with them, and they're genuinely shocked when their wives are like, well, I feel like I have, like, the frequency has to be this much in order to keep you happy. And he's like, wait, what?
You don't
That
have
was
to, you don't
new
have
for
to
me.
answer this if you don't want to, but did this affect your view of us, or just in general did this realization directly affect how you saw us, or was it more a general revelation in when you're dealing with couples?
I think it was more of a general revelation. And we've talked about this. I feel like you were in positions that were very vulnerable, but you weren't taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. I was a competitive basketball player, which I know is strange to people because I'm short, but small town Oklahoma, and I often would go to the gym with my high school basketball coach, who was male, and it was just the two of us in a locked gym on the weekend.
Yeah, which is like tailor-made for
Right.
all kinds of terrible things
Right.
that could have happened, but
Right.
they didn't with you.
Right.
And so that's where I feel like you were protected.
Yeah.
But so many other women weren't.
Right.
And the impact of that sort of continues on into
Yeah.
the marriage.
Kind of
Sort
the latent impact
Yes.
decades later, even.
and that the husband is often unaware.
Yeah.
And that's just it was upsetting to me, but also made sense that would be the case. Mm-hmm. So that was huge insight. That's more of just seeing the complexities of people's relationship a little bit better. That helped me with that. So that's 2.
Okay, my 2, and I don't think this is from one source necessarily, but I think I just was reminded in marriage the primacy of grace with each other in a culture that demands perfection and in a critical culture. And I think we're all, and I don't like to hear this, but I think we're all bent toward nitpicking the things we don't like.
Yeah.
We're consumeristic and everything's tailored just to us. And I think our default is going to be to hyper fix on what we don't like. And I think for a marriage to be growing and good, there has to be an element of, it's okay. It's not perfect. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's okay that he doesn't do this exactly how I want him to do it and never will. Like, just the role of grace. And like I said, I don't know if there's any book that talked about that specifically. Maybe some.
I think some of Keller's
Yeah,
stuff.
Keller touches on it.
Yeah, kind of.
But I think throughout this season, I've been reminded of that. And I think we've practiced that better.
And it's so counterintuitive that the more I feel accepted by you in my imperfection, the more motivated I am to change. Like,
to become perfect. No.
well, not to become perfect,
To improve.
but this is what the gospel did. Like,
Right.
the gospel, it changes us from the inside out. Like, there's motivation
Yeah.
because you've already demonstrated that you accept me.
Yeah.
And then it changes my desires for being a kind of person, rather than I have to watch what I say and who I am around you.
Yeah.
She knows who I am.
Yeah.
I want to be the kind of husband that God wants me to be, and that would benefit Renee. It just changes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that's my 2.
Okay. My 3 is the last book we read, The Future of Marriage, by Mark Ragnarok.
Stop it. Stop it.
He
He's
makes
never
this
going to
point-
come on the
He's
podcast
not.
if you keep
Actually,
dragging
Sorry,
his
Mark.
name.
But his point that most people experience marriage as today and trajectory as a capstone,
Yeah.
rather than a foundation. And
Or a building block.
and that sort of his hope, his corrective is that we need to shift our thinking.
Yeah.
That marriage is a foundation, meaning it is an institution that shapes you and turns you into a certain kind of person.
That you will be way in the future.
Yes.
Yes.
And
yes.
you enter it with someone.
Yeah.
So there is this expectation of dynamic change and
Yep.
development.
Yep. And less despair, I think, because you're not projecting that this is supposed to be perfect and it's not, and you're viewing it as a process and potentially lengthy process.
Yeah, you're kind of locked in a furnace with this person, and the expectation, the heat of that is to actually mold us into different kind of people, better kind of people. So rather than what most sort of is commonly held position, for good reasons, I think that we've talked about too, that most people now think of marriage as a capstone. So I've already become the kind of person I want to become.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a sort of capstone to that, I want to find someone who fits a certain
Yeah.
sort of life partner.
Who's also who's also arrived.
Yes.
Yep.
They check all the boxes.
Yep.
And now as we can live a capstone. My marriage will be a capstone. So again, I know a lot of people who have that experience, and yet I think the first vision is, I'm more challenged by that, and I feel like that's truer to the original kind of design, meaning, foundations of what marriage is and how it actually helps society too. So anyway, that's it.
That's
that
good.
was my third one.
Yep. This is going to sound so cheesy and cliche, but here goes.
You really love your husband. Is that it?
That and
Gotta be.
that and I do think we live in a culture that marriage, there's a quick out often. There are lots of there are so many justifiable outs.
Yeah.
And I think it really is worth weathering difficult seasons. And we've had difficult seasons. And I think sort of to what you just talked about, just the growth and the maturity, and it's really beautiful. Like God's design for it is really beautiful. And even being 22 years in, I'm glad we stuck with it through the hard seasons. And sometimes the out needs to happen. Like, I'm not diminishing that reality is there.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people take an exit when it would be worth just sticking with it and working on it.
Yeah.
And there is real beauty and real depth and real flourishing with that.
That's great. Thanks, Dave.
Sure.
Well, hey, if anyone wants to email us,
Yeah, we want to hear your takeaways.
and maybe some ways, some takeaways that you have from the season,
Yeah,
or
I'd love to hear that.
insights from any of these books, or from any of our conversations, it would really encourage us, and we'd love to hear kind of how this is sort of striking a lot of you guys out there.
Yep.
Yeah, let us know what you read. Let us know where you agree or disagree with us.
Yeah.
Ask
Yep.
questions.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can send all of that.
To either it's Dave or Renee or Jesse at fellowshipdenver.org, or
You could even hit podcast at fellowshipdenver.org,
Podcast at
and
denver.org.
Autumn Gardner would make sure that it found its way to us.
Yeah.
She'd be like, this is not
lots of
about my
venues.
podcast.
Lots of venues. Let's finish out with some of our tried and true sections.
yes,
So-
Renee.
Yes.
What's weird about? Oh wait.
Not
We've
that
had some time to develop some
Plenty.
new weird
I know.
things.
We
That's
have-
true. That's true.
That pond has been stocked.
That may make a resurgence next season.
But I do have a question for you, Renee.
Oh wait, are we doing? Oh, how can I make? Sorry. What, honey?
Renee?
Yeah, yes.
I just thought of
You had a question. Okay. I would love to hear what question you have.
How can I today make your day better?
This is why we can't take a month off between episodes.
It's true. So my first thought is this the last time we're going to ask this question? So do we have to return to mind reading, back to mind reading?
Yeah, so if we're retiring this segment, just relationally, we're just going to regress.
Regress to
back
mind,
to assuming
you know what the other person wants. How can you make my day better today? I think I know you have a very busy evening.
Mm-hmm.
I need accountability to get our Christmas cards out.
Okay.
Ooh.
So whether that's taking a little break and helping me get them all addressed, or hey, you can do it. Here's a nice glass of wine, honey.
Okay.
You can finish the Christmas cards.
Okay, it's just some encouragement.
I just need accountability. They need to go.
Was
need
the
to go out
cursive not quite so tight on these last dozen as it was on the
There's an obviously different
handwriting
how deep
disintegration.
into her glass was Renee.
They need to go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I can do that.
I need some either help,
Yep.
physical help, or accountability with that.
Okay. I probably will help with accountability
Okay.
on that. Ask you about it.
Okay.
Maybe help create a better environment for it.
That I can enjoy it.
Yes.
Dave,
Okay.
is this really about your cursive game?
No, my cursive game is terrible.
It is bad.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so Volley, how can I make your day better
Oh my gosh.
today?
Well, as you know, I do have a project I have to finish tonight. Mm-hmm. So it's helpful to know what your expectations are in terms of how I can help you with your project. Mm-hmm. How you can help me is maybe similarly so I have to go to, there's a coffee shop
Yeah.
that's open late. So I'm going to be there.
Which one's open late? Frank and Rose.
Stella's.
Oh,
Bardo's open pretty late too, right?
Which one?
Bardo.
Bardo.
Yeah.
Bardo? Oh, I don't know.
Is Frank and Rose open late?
Only till like I think like 8 o'clock. And it
Okay.
becomes like a bar.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't quite have the same steady
Same
vibe.
studious vibe.
Yeah, but Stella's is just college students.
I know. So
Maybe
far
we'll-
though. It
But-
violates
from
our
here-
it
but there's-
violates our 3-mile radius from
know,
our
it
house
does.
rule.
It does.
Ooh.
Anyway, so how you can make my day better is maybe similarly, if I call, you can help me problem solve
Yes.
on when I'm stuck.
Do you want
which-
to reveal the role I play in this project often to the peoples or not? Do you want
if
to
you want, if you want to? I mean,
You don't
it's
have
the
to.
worst kept secret, I think, on staff, and
So I'm Dave's illustration consult.
so
So if he's-
if I'm writing a
sermon,
sermon,
if he's writing
or
a
if I'm writing
sermon,
Oh yeah.
something,
And he needs a
I'm like, Renee, here's the issue, here's the thing I want to drive home,
yes.
and then just Renee has like a beautiful mind, like a flood of ideas come out, and we process it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy to serve in
pick
that role
one.
tonight.
Okay. All right. That'd be great. So it'd be nice. So with the idea that tomorrow morning,
Mm-hmm.
Friday morning, we wake up, you're like, no matter how late it takes us,
That project's.
both of
in the
those
mail.
are done.
Do you want to be done with?
I want to have first draft.
Okay. All right,
All right. Good. Thank you.
Jesse. Can we make your day better?
Oh no, you guys you showed up. You showed up and we recorded an episode we've been trying to do for a month. So
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
already made my day
Oh,
better.
yay.
Happy to help.
Jesse has immeasurable patience with us.
He does. He does.
And grace. Speaking of grace,
Yes.
so last thing,
Yes.
as one final parting shot, what are we into as we're bidding adieu to 2022 and hello to 2023?
Well, what I'm into right now, this goes back to one of our questions earlier about who likes to spend money. I am into buying presents right now. It's so much fun.
I know, honey.
I am so into it.
I'm sweating.
Last
I'm
night,
sweating.
I was at a
sweating.
store and I just started taking pictures and sending to Renee, hey, what do you think? The boys
And
being
normally
this.
I'm a wet blanket. I'm
And
like, no.
usually Renee's
no.
like, we can sort of make this on our own or create a rough equivalent somewhere else.
Boo. Killjoy.
I
But
know.
last night I got a lot of yes.
I don't know why. I
exclamation
was just like,
points.
sure.
It felt so good to be unified on
Probably
that.
something to do with her Christmas card helper. You know?
That's true. But yeah, so I do love
You do love giving gifts.
giving gifts and like thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
fun, creative gifts that fit people. I just get so much joy out of it. So I'm into that right now. What about you guys?
So, are you saying you're gonna keep doing that?
I'm just saying I'm into it.
Right. Does that imply
No,
more
we-
of the same? Or
No, unless you know something about our budget that I don't know.
well,
I'm
we
pretty sure.
we kind of had fulfilled all of the big purchases, right? And that's still the case, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've already.
okay.
Things have already.
But just the fact that you're into it made it
Commitment.
sound like it was an ongoing desire.
Well, there's always a little.
Right,
little
that's
bits
fine.
here and there.
Yeah.
Right? For next week, kind of leading up to it.
This is what I deal with, Jesse.
It's okay. It's all
What I
right.
deal with.
I'll go.
Okay, what are you into
okay.
right now?
This seems silly, but we talked about this a couple times ago about how the importance of as you become aged or aging. And yes,
Says
almost
the 30-something.
Hey, listen, almost 35
Oh gosh.
is
Crying you a river.
Child.
yeah, I know. It's been a hard 35. I've beat my body up. Anyway, the point is, I had gotten out of the habit of working out regularly. And when I would work out, it would be infrequently and I would overdo it. And I would go into the pain cave for about a week and not
It really
go
interrupts
back.
momentum.
It sure does. But what you need to do then is immediately go back to the gym. And what would happen is I would go into the pain cave and then start to feel better. And then instead of going right back to the gym, it would be like another 2 months. And by that time, your body's forgotten and you're back in the pain cave again. Anyway, I'm like 3 weeks back into a consistent regimen and I feel great. I'm not
Yay.
living in the
Great.
pain cave. I can go lift. I can even lift kind of heavy and my body doesn't hate me afterward. And that's a nice feeling. So, yeah, after a season of not feeling great about all of that, it's I'm into, starting to feel good about moving my body again. It's a nice thing.
That's great. Hey,
So-
you look great.
Well,
do look great,
thank
Jesse.
you. Thank you for pandering to me,
that's okay.
the one who edits your
true.
podcast.
It's true. It's
Yes. What about you, Renee?
I think Dave will really appreciate this one. I am into going out to eat with our whole family, and we've done it. I was constantly just putting the brakes on the dining out experience with the whole family, purely because it costs an arm and a leg
expensive,
when
yeah.
we go. But we've just had some. I think our boys are at the age where, and our kids are foodies, so we
And you work your butt off to make sure that you do meal planning.
Yep.
So it's not like this is every night.
right.
It's never like we've kind of are behind the 8 ball on this. Let's just do this as a bailout.
Right.
Just go to Postino instead
Right.
of, yeah.
No, but prior, I think I would just be hesitant to ever do it. Mm-hmm. And there've just been a couple of instances this fall where we just went and celebrated something, and it's just been so fun.
Yeah.
And Dave and I were talking about, so Will hears back tomorrow at 1 p.m. from one of his desired colleges. And I said, if Will gets in, we find out tomorrow, we just need to go out and eat.
We gonna party.
Yeah. And I don't think I would have done that. And sort of like, we'll deal with the expense
It's
of
like
it.
old school table fellowship.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah.
No,
It's like
they're
Kill
really
the fattened calf.
So for you
know?
guys who have littles who going out to eat, I mean, it's like an atomic. It's the worst thing we would ever do when our boys were
It's
little.
chaos.
And it was so stressful and it was so messy. I mean, we essentially just wouldn't go because it's turned into such a delightful experience. So know that one day you will take your kids out to a meal and it is a thoroughly wonderful, enjoyable experience. So I'm into that, and I'm hoping that happens over the
night?
break. Maybe we can't do tomorrow night. We
can't
have
be
a party.
tomorrow. I
We
was
have a
going to say.
party.
So I have two questions. First is, I'm assuming this would be at lunch because you're just pre-gaming for the FTC staff elder.
Yes, we'll
deacon
probably
key
do
volunteer.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless sermon. Anyway, we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see.
Ooh,
We'll,
all right.
we'll figure out. We'll figure out a way to do it.
Logistics.
Does Will get to choose?
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's so
anyway,
fun.
Yeah, which means we're going to be a lot poorer.
it means sushi.
Yeah, because he
Ronan
wants
by our
sushi.
house.
He's like, yeah. Oh.
So that's what
All
I'm
right,
into.
That's awesome.
So why don't you wrap up season 2 and give a little
Yeah,
preview?
send us out.
Yeah, give a
Yeah.
little preview of what's next and
Well,
what people can
Coach,
expect.
Dr. Reverend, Pastor, Dr. Dave.
I mean, our hope as not just a season review, but the whole purpose of this podcast is to encourage you in your marriage with your spouse. We get it's hard,
Yeah,
and there are seasons where it's really hard.
yeah.
We get it. We get it. But with only rare exceptions, biblical exceptions, staying with it, not quitting the home team.
I was going to say, this sounds familiar.
Is what God has for you, and you become a more of the kind of person God has made you to be if you stay in it. Knowing all of this, like all the appropriate footnotes. My encouragement and the whole purpose of this podcast is to encourage you in your marriage, and to stick to stick it out, and not just stick it out,
To enjoy it.
to enjoy it, to enjoy the actual human, the flawed human that God has given you. Enjoy that person and all their flaws. Love that person. Be committed to that person. That's my encouragement to you. And whatever the next season looks like, we're sort of brainstorming.
So am I rehired for season 3?
You're rehired.
Really?
Yes.
Do I get a pay increase?
Yep. I'm gonna quadruple your pay. 0 times 100.
It's math even my 7-year-old knows.
Yes. But whatever it is we come up with in terms of themes and fun segments, we have a lot that we're kind of processing right now that I think are going to be a blast. The purpose of all of that is simply to encourage you at home to invest in your marriage. It's a beautiful thing. God made it as a good, not just for you, not just for your happiness, but as a good for the world, and as a sign, ultimately, the love of Christ in the church. So that's my encouragement, and I want to wish all of you out there a great Christmas, a Happy New Year, and at some point in the new year, we'll
We'll be back.
unleash a season 3 on you. But time yet to be determined. But please reach out to
Yeah.
us if you have questions.
Give us some feedback.
thoughts. Give us some feedback. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, that was a beautiful epilogue. Thanks for doing that.
All right, everyone.
See you in 2023. Yeah.
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 Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.